Hello, this is Dr. Dawn Michael, your politically incorrect sex counselor, and today I'm going to be talking to you about ways to help get rid of a fetish. And yes, it can be done. Does it work for everyone? No. Does it work for some people? Yes. And it really depends on the person. So I'm going to go over some of the ways that a person can begin to, I think the term get rid of it, or I don't want to say deprogram, but find other things that are more important in your life, or other things that can help replace it and make the fetish so that it's less important. Because that's really what happens with people is they'll take a sexual issue or a sexual pattern or a sexual fetish and they will make it part of their identity, or they will make it so big that they feel that they can't get aroused by anything else. And when that happens, for many people, it causes havoc in their lives. It can destroy a relationship. It can keep someone from being in a relationship. It can financially bankrupt them. It can make them so that they don't work. It can make them so they feel bad about themselves. It could put them in dangerous situations. It could even make people do things that hurt other people. And so, again, not all fetishes create problems in everyone's lives, and there's certainly some people that have them that maybe work them into a relationship, but I'm not talking to that audience. I'm talking to people who can't just work it into their lives, but it's really become destructive in their lives. And that's at the point where it works for some people and it doesn't work for others. That being, you have to get to a point in your life where the fetish, the negative aspects of the fetish outweighs the positive aspects, and where you've pretty much hit rock bottom or you're close to being there, and you've made a decision that you have to do something about it because it really is disrupting your life. And when I work with people, they usually are at that point. If they're not, it's much more difficult to work with them because they still think that, they're just not 100%, not 100%, but they're not really going to put the effort into changing it. And it does take effort. I mean, if you think about it, for many people, they've had their fetish for so many years. It's become a part of their sexual pattern. It's what they get aroused by. As I said, some people even identify with it. It becomes who they are. It really takes over their life where it shouldn't. And so unraveling it and trying to get rid of it or make it so that it's not such a big part of your conscious, it takes work, and but it's worth it for people who have been able to do that, and they're much happier, that they feel like they don't have to put the energy and the time into it, and they're able to be aroused by other things, and they're able to have relationships. It's not costing them their job or, like I said, bankrupting them. And so one of the first things to understand when you're talking about a fetish is you're not born with it. This is something that at some point in your life you developed. It varies for people. It could be something that happened in your childhood, and that, some people could have been abused, and it could have gotten into their sexual pattern, and now they have a fetish over it. That happens. It could be that it was something that they saw they were curious about when they were younger, and then when they got into puberty, they started thinking about it more and more and realized how to turn them on, and they watched videos about it, and they thought about it, and they experimented with it. And this is really where part of the issue takes place. And I will add, though, that the longer that you have made this a part of your life, obviously it's a little more difficult to unravel. So if you're younger and you're dealing with this, it's going to be a little easier than being older and you've had this part of your sexual pattern your entire life. Not that you can't do it. It's just you have to, it takes a little bit more time. So the first thing I want to say is the only way for the fetish to become such a big part of your life is that you've put energy, effort into it. You've put time into it. You've put money into it. It's, you think about it. So you have created something that may have just started out like this into something like this. So that's where the problem happens. If you were able to keep it something small that maybe, you got turned on with, or you did it once in a while, it wasn't that big of a deal, then you really wouldn't be seeking help for it or looking for help. It's usually when it feels like it's out of control and it's just taking over your life. That's when people look for help. And maybe if you just have a small little fetish right now, I would recommend maybe you get control of it so it doesn't turn into something big, okay? Not to say that some people have fetishes that they can't work into their sex lives. They can, but that's not the audience I'm talking to. I'm talking to people where their fetish is really out of control and destroying their lives. And out of control meaning you've allowed it to be out of control. So what happens is we have so many thoughts that get into our mind all day long, and we're not aware of them most of the time. They come and they go. But a thought surrounding your fetish is one that is familiar to you, and it's one that holds your interest. So when you think of it, many times you want to react to it. You want to do something with that thought. It maybe arouses you, maybe spikes your adrenaline, and the next thing you know, you're engaging in an activity that puts energy into it, that builds it up, that feeds it. And so in that moment, when you have that thought, is really when you have to make the decision. Am I going to act on it? Am I going to think about it? What am I going to do with this thought? Now, the way to eventually minimize that thought or to switch it to something else is right now the thought is huge. I mean, the fetish is big. I mean, it's right here. What you have to do is you have to bring other things into your life over here. So you have to make a list of 10 things, whether it's exercise, bike riding, dancing, music, art, anything. I mean, you write down 10 things that you're somewhat interested in, that will hold your attention long enough that this thought over here can be transferred to this thought over here. And this thought also has an action with it. So not only are you now thinking about this, you're actively doing it. And actively doing it is very important. Because you really want to, in the beginning, do something to get away from that thought. And it takes willpower, it takes discipline. And really, if you think about going to the gym and you're lifting weights and you're trying to build muscle. So in order to build muscle, you have to break the muscle apart. Okay, in order for it to get bigger, it has to be broken apart. And there's a burn to it that can happen. And it's a little bit uncomfortable. And it takes discipline and reps, but you're able to sit with that burn and know that that burn, that uncomfortableness, is making the muscle bigger and stronger and more healthy. It's the same thing with the sexual thoughts, the fetish. It's like not acting on it is almost going to feel like that burn. Like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I feel like I have to act on it. But knowing that it's a healthy burn, that it's your way of breaking free from it, and it's going to be uncomfortable for a while, really helps to be able to focus on something else over here. And that's an important part because it's how you think about it. Because this really is all in how you think about things and what you put your energy into and what you put your focus on. If it's just, focus on the fetish, and not trying to focus on something else, then you're going to be stuck with this fetish because you've put so much time and energy into it. So you really have to be uncomfortable for a little while trying to focus on something else that is productive in your life, that can, that you're proud of, that you can get some enjoyment from. I mean, it may not be enjoyment at first, but at least it's something that's holding your attention. And again, whatever those 10 things may be, you always have them there ready to switch your thought to that. So that's how you get started with doing this. That's one tool. Another thing is setting up a schedule. Because if you have a fetish, many times you'll create this pattern around it where you'll allot a certain amount of time to it, and it could be every day, it could be every other day. You can also be in the process of buying the things that go along with the fetish, whether it's clothing or a toy or a scene or a situation. All of that you're allowing time for, money for, your attention for, and you have to change your schedule so that that no longer fits into your schedule, and really keep yourself active and busy, especially for the first couple weeks. So every day you're sitting down and you're writing out a schedule for the week of some things that you're going to do that keep you active and motivated, and so you're disciplined in doing those things. And so it's really like breaking a pattern, which takes about 3 months to do. But once you break that pattern, it's easier. And not only that, not only is it easier once you break that pattern, the thought won't come into your mind as often, and the thought won't be as powerful as it used to be once you're able to break the pattern. And that's kind of a goal that you want to set yourself, is at least to get through 3 months and then reevaluate where you're at, and then do another 3 months. So you're not looking like years and years ahead. Your goal is set at 3 months, but every week you have a goal. So you set up a goal for yourself every week of something that you look forward to, trying out something new. Like I said, could be breathing or bike riding or dancing or painting or, I don't know, gardening. Just something that interests you, something that you can put your mind into and your time into, because it really is your time, most likely money, energy. You want to be able to put it into something else. Anyway, this is how you get started, but I just wanted to come on and let people know that yes, you can break the habit, because that's what this is it's a habit. Nevertheless, it's a powerful habit, but it is a habit, and you can break it. It just is going to take discipline and some tools to do it. And even, if someone could keep you on track, and when I work with people, oftentimes we'll set up a schedule, they'll check in, we have the calendar set, they know what they're doing, so it's easy for them to follow a schedule and be accountable for it. So that's really important too. You can even join like a group. It doesn't have to be for the fetish. It can be for anyone, where you just have a support team where you're checking in with each other, have a good friend help you. So these are all important things too, to keep you on task. And that's basically how you get started. But yes, people can break habits, and they do it all the time. And this is a sexual habit, and it doesn't define who you are. And you've just allowed it to. You've just allowed it to define who you are, but it's not who you are. It's just something that you have allowed into your life, and you've given it energy, you've given it power, and you've allowed it to go from something small into something really big. And so now it's about taking that power back and using that energy to do something positive in your life that makes you happy, that makes you feel good, that moves you forward, all of those things. So I just wanted to leave you with that today. And anyway, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comment. And as you know, I believe everyone deserves to have a healthy sex life, and so do you.